people. Things going on. Downtime. Welcome to my bathroom. So, my studio right now is everything everywhere. So, there's something that I need to talk about. So, Yara Sahidi, who I think is a phenomenal actress off of Blackish. I think she's cool. I think she's great. Whatever. They're race swapping her as Tinkerbell. Now, I was on Facebook and I be talking to people, and people keep doing this whole, why does it matter? Why does her race matter? I don't understand. Okay, throw one at you. Why does Blade's race matter? He's a vampire hunter who is usually the essential story. He is taking revenge for a vampire that bit his mother. That has no racial connotation. But the character is associated as being a black character. So, if you were to do that, there you go. Now, what some people were saying was, well, Julia Roberts was a redhead. First off, it was auburn, because that's the color she dyed her hair the most throughout her Hollywood career, said to her by her. She was also difficult, apparently, reportedly, on set to work with, like the whole water thing, and they all gave her, all the assistants brought water to her. So let's talk about a couple things that I have issues with. For one, stop defending it. It's a bad decision. It's race swap tokenism. They're like, but we need more diverse characters. Okay, then why don't you use Iridessa? You know, the black character that you made in the Tinkerbell line of series that you pushed about, hey, we have a black fairy. Now, let's also talk about something else that's been heavily on my mind. Peter uses Tinkerbell like he pats her butt to get fairy dust. They also put her in a cage. Oh, of course, Jude Law, he's going to be Captain Hook because it's okay to have a straight white male be the villain. This is Disney, who, besides shooting Mulan at a concentration camp, which I have not had the chance, or probably not going to do the video, but let's call it out for what it is, and they were totally fine with it. We are also talking about Disney, who took Finn and made him like this on the posters and promotions in China because of the fact that they did not want to do the minority thing. So these guys who, instead of using the new character or making a new thing, their whole thing is, well, how about we race swap you? Now, I did see the boy. I'm not used to him, but I know Wendy's going to be played by Mila Jovovich's daughter. No, that's trash. Just like the Ariel thing is trash. Because people keep going, well, it's just a fairy tale. First off, it takes place these are from European places. And at the time, black people were not that prevalent there like that. The other reason why I have an issue with this is because I'd rather you make new stories or take the stories into a place. Why couldn't you use Iridessa, the character that you created? It's because it's called being lazy, people. What I want to see, I'm sick and tired of this Hollywood representation bull crap. That's not representation. That is a handout. So they're saying, here, black person, here, brown skinned person, you should be happy now. There you go. Go on, guy. BLM. No. You know what I want? Because I had a coworker, he's a really cool guy. He said, you should celebrate every time a black person gets something, no matter where it comes from. I told him no. I want a black person to be celebrated for our stories, our creativities. Brown skin too, Asian, everyone. This whole race swapping thing is also trash because the pendulum doesn't swing the other way. Because Hellboy's not a real character, or he's fictional. Yet when they got the dude that played Ajax to be a character that is typically Asian, everyone flipped out and lost their minds. To the point where the guy himself, which I give him credit, he bowed out. That's my problem. If it's not going to be even across the board, then it shouldn't be done. There's no reason to change that character. Now, some people are bringing up Cinderella from back in the day with Brandy and Whitney Houston, acting like there was no hatred or anger whatsoever towards it. Well, I grew up in that time, and yes, there was. The thing is that they were trying to do a multicultural story, so they threw a mixed race king and queen. They did all this stuff. They did it on purpose to try to say, hey, let's make a mixed race something. Now, see, with Wizard of Oz, we got the Wiz. That's the thing. I want to see actual work be put in. Create new. Uplift other races if they have stories to tell. Not keep taking characters that already exist, that are already established. And when 4 people start sitting there going, but Tinkerbell, blah, 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 in the old book, she's a light. That's just, okay, we're talking about Disney. In Disney, she is one of their main mascots. When you see the Disney thing go up, who is it? Tinkerbell. Bing! Blonde-haired, blue-eyed. She has more movies than Peter Pan, and Peter Pan is the star of the series. And she laps him in movies and storylines. They have other fairies that are other races. And like I said, there is one called Iridessa. So, you're going to take the black character that you're switching, that Peter uses, doesn't actually fully appreciate, and smack her butt to get the pixie dust. He uses her for the pixie dust. Eventually she gets put in a cage and all this by the white villain. I bet you they're going to change her where all of a sudden she's going to be hyper sassy, hyper all this, which, and all this extra stuff just to make it that much better. Now, from what I could tell, they're going to do some changes to the story a little bit. It's not going to be exactly from the cartoon movie. I don't know if this is what this is because they've tried Peter Pan before. A couple times on reboots. I actually own most of them, maybe all of them. I know Sci-Fi did one. I think I own that one too. I like Peter Pan a lot, actually. A lot of people don't even realize his first introduction was not in his own book. It was actually somewhere else where he was a baby flying with fairies. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, I think she's a phenomenal actress. I know people keep doing this thing now because Hawkman is Aldous, the actor as well. And I was talking with a guy about that, and he was talking about how Egyptians are black. I was explaining they're Middle Eastern. Look, you can believe whatever you want. If you go making the character, excuse me, there we go. Sorry. Making the character black, where the guy was like, well, his race has no significance to his acting ability. The problem I have is that if you want to use a black character for the JSA, why don't you use Hakeem Thunder or Mr. Terrific? Mr. Terrific number 2. Or the version of Dr. Midnight, like Stargirl did, and so did the Arrowverse, where they had another Dr. Midnight. I don't like this race swapping thing because it's a tokenism situation where it's just more of a, here you go. And instead of putting in that extra thought or that extra work, if you want to make a diverse character, if you want to make a gay character, if you want to make a straight character or a trans character or something like that, why don't you use the existing character that is already there, that is already that thing, instead of race swapping or gender swapping or sexual orientation swapping the character? And this is my problem. It's lazy, it's not real, and I'm sick and tired of people keep thinking that, but it's diversity. Disney shot a movie near a concentration camp. You really want to sit there and try to tell me diversity, Disney's for us? This isn't even me fully coming at Disney. This is me coming at what the Hollywood machine is doing. Why couldn't you take an African story? Like the dragon killer or hunter. Yes, there's an African story about a girl who actually became known as a dragon hunter. Wouldn't you rather see her in a role like that? Where she goes out and she fights dragons and they tell this amazing story with it? There are plenty of rich, if you want to go with black people, stories that we have that we barely touch. But their first thought is to take a European story like with Frozen and put in Matthias in Norway in 1890. What kind of sense does that make? Because we want diversity. Well, there's no diversity there because those people were not black. You want to do a diverse story, then you go and do a black story. You don't need to always have black people or brown-skinned people or vice versa. I don't want to see a pure African story from like 1700 with a bunch of white people running around. That doesn't make sense. Not because of the fantasy, because if something has a historical significance, which, yes, it's Norway. So that is a real place. They just built a fantasy around it. But it took place in a certain place and time in history. So Matthias should not have been there. That doesn't make sense. And it's stupid and it's pandering. Listen, everyone, ask for more, ask for better. Black Panther was fine. Blade, fine. You know, black characters, they do these things. Let's stop taking the mediocrity of a handout that is disingenuous. Doing a race swap is not helping the cause. It's not helping the culture. It's not helping. You know what would have helped? Tell me right now. If I'm wrong, please explain to me how I'm wrong. Would you rather see something on the lines of a Black Panther, like I said, the Dragon Hunter, or many other African stories that we have, where the leads and things are meant to be that way, or create a new story where there's black characters and culture and things that are being pushed forward, where the characters are supposed to be? Or would you rather just have a handout where it's Tinkerbell, there you go. Hey, we got this thing. Throw a little blackness in there. There you go. There you go, guys. It's not genuine. I don't want any more tokenism. I want realism. I want, and I'm talking about, and like I said, even though I'm focused on black because these two were black, which I'm talking across the board, Asian, all that. I want Hollywood to actually put in work, put in effort, make it the real thing. Make it something good. Put your heart and soul into it. Give me a real story where you're not just race swapping the characters, but actually putting something into it. And if you wanted to use a black fairy, you, Disney, since this is your version, you have Iridessa. So why didn't you just use Iridessa? Same thing with the Little Mermaid. There is a black little mermaid. Her name is Gabby. Why didn't you just use her? See what I mean? They have the characters right there. So use the characters that you already made to be that. Yeah, you might have made those characters out of the sheer fact of, you know what, maybe we should have a black character. So let's make a black character. Okay, but that character is new. It doesn't have a history. Now you can do things with it. You can build that character to be something amazing. And if you want to talk from the business end of it, now you have two characters you can make money off instead of one. Or the version. I would love to hear what y'all have to say. Like I said, it's not that I have an issue with her as an actress. I love her as an actress, actually. I would love to see her in more things. She was one of my favorite standouts in Blackish, and I was so happy when she got Grownish, because I was like, no, that girl got talent. So it has nothing to do with that. Same thing with Aldous. I'm like, this dude got talent. I like him. It's nothing to do with that. I don't want the handouts anymore. Actually, I didn't really want them before, but now I really don't want them. If you're going to sit here and you're going to say you're part of Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff, then I want to see you do the real effort. Why don't you go for the black or brown skinned or Asian creators who are coming out with things all the time, and go search in there and then go pick those up and say, hey, this guy or this girl or this person made a thing. Let's go grab that. Why don't you push that, Disney? Go for the new IP. Go for something that's there. Go to see this. Instead of this whole, let's just do it this way. That's to me how you represent. If you want to represent brown skin, any type of skin person. I don't even care if it's white people. Same thing. Go find these new IPs, or if you already have the characters that exist, uplift those characters. who were already black or already this thing or something. You have black characters in JSA. So why are you switching Hawkman, who has not been a black guy, who is an alien? And before anyone says anything, his continuity is all jacked up. But if you follow what DC says, he was a Thanagarian first. He is, I know people like Prince Kuhu, Kuduhu, Khuh. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But he also had the look of Thoth. And like I said before, too, you're also talking about a character who can fly and fights monsters. So making him a dark-skinned black guy doesn't really sit well. I mean, they could do a timeline thing, and they could say, hey, you know, it's an Egyptian thing, and we wanted him to be a darker skin because of Africa, even though they're lighter-skinned people. I get where the story could go, but why didn't you just use a character? Also, by the way, Johnny Thunder or Hakeem is much more powerful than Hawkman. So why didn't you use that character? How about considered the third smartest person in the world, which is Mr. Terrific, who was a part of JSA for a while? Isn't it interesting how these two characters that are part of the JSA that I just talked about, now they're already changing the time a little bit for the group, so I'm just pointing this out. Those two characters that they use, one is very powerful and the other one is one of the smartest people in DC Comics. Literally considered the third smartest person on the planet. But instead, you just swap them out for Carter Hall, who is an archaeologist who doesn't know all of his past and all this stuff, who's strong, but not to the level of Johnny power-wise or that. I don't know what to tell you. I don't like it. I think it's pandering and is not actually uplifting. In closing, I want them to put the work in, put the effort, uplift different diverse creators by actually giving them a shot. Good creators who actually may have a thing or traffic or whatever. Not this, here you go with this little handout. Move along now. BLM. This is the Geek Protagonist. You stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. And I'll see you. Like I said, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I want more. I want original. I want the characters to be. I want the effort to be there, not a race swap, but actually tell these diverse stories. Not take a story that takes place in Europe, England, and Neverland and whatever, and then say, well, we'll switch out this character here. There you go. Like I said, and before, if you're not liking what I'm saying, I just want to point back out, Disney did a movie near a concentration camp and took the black character on the poster and made him that big. See ya. Hey, thank you for visiting my channel. This is the Geek Protagonist. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please, it'll really help me out in the channel if you actually share these videos, if you like what I'm doing. Please hit that bell notification. Hit it, click. This way you won't miss any of my videos. Also, there's a thing on there that says personal and all. Hit the all. This way you'll get them every time for the notifications. I'm trying to, grow, trying to do commentary about what's going on. And I want to thank you again. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay real. This is the Geek Protagonist. I'm out, and I'll see you.